Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and just like that, the first half of the year is gone. Today is July 1st, and in today's vlog, we're going to talk about some really cool announcements that I have with regards to the channel. We're just going to take a quick look at this box here, and then at the end of the vlog, I'm going to pretty much just highlight my favorite pickups so far for the first half of 2025. And honestly, when you think about it, it just flew by, honestly. And in the time that I've had, and in the time that I've been collecting, I have kind of put together a box of trade items that I'm going to be using as trade bait for the second half of the year. This will more than likely go to a mom and pop shop. A lot of this stuff will wind up in the hands of a mom and pop shop because most people won't want to trade for these types of games. But there are certain mom and pops that will take a good amount of these games. So that's what you're looking at in this box here. Like I said, towards the end of this vlog, we're going to take a look at my favorite items for the first half of the year. And these are pretty much just the games that I was the most excited to play. I was excited about everything I picked up, but these games and these items were the ones that really kind of made me happy when I got them. So let's start off by talking about an announcement with regards to the channel. So a lot of you kind of have different feelings and opinions about the longer form content or the edited content that I make for the channel. There are some who really just prefer this shotgun style of video where I kind of just aim the phone at some games or at a box or at a shelf. And for a while, it was kind of funny. I would get comments every once in a while with people saying like, dude, why do you like point the phone at a box or aim it here? But the reality of it is a lot of you actually like that. The channel is at almost 7,200 subscribers, and 7,200 people actually like that style of content. And so that's what I've pretty much done in terms of how I kind of film my daily vlogs. But there is a percentage of the subscribers who do like my longer form content. You like my edited videos, you like the voiceover stuff, you like when I kind of showcase what I'm doing out in the field, when I go game hunting, or just when I kind of get a little bit more personal or in depth with, how I navigate just daily life. And so for that, I'm going to be launching a channel membership starting today. So it'll probably be launched later on this afternoon into the evening. And the membership is really going to be for those who want to consume some of that longer form content, maybe some of the more edited videos. You'll have early access to edited videos that I make, that I may just release to the general public. But long and short of it, you're going to get just more in-depth videos, more in-depth content from me, and just stuff that's a little bit more dynamic than what you see here or what you get from more of my daily vlogs. So I figured that that would be a great place to put that type of content. And because it's something that not necessarily everyone on my channel appreciates, I figure I would make that for the members of the channel who really want to see that side of the Y2K collector, who, will appreciate more of that edited type of content. And so that stuff will be there for you guys. That type of content, there'll definitely be more effort put into the editing. More time will be put into the clips that are used for those videos and stuff like that. So I figured that would be a great place to kind of house that type of content. And it's good because if you really want that, then you'll go ahead and get the membership. It's not going to be an expensive membership. I'm still trying to figure out what the right type of membership pricing is going to be for that type of content. So I'm still working on that, but I will put an announcement. I'll probably post, the membership announcement on the channel a little bit later on today. So I'm definitely excited to do that. I do have a Patreon, but I haven't launched the Patreon yet because the Patreon was really meant to be more for even more in-depth content. Like for instance, my family and I, we're going to be traveling to the Hawaiian Islands. And so I'll be doing some game hunting out there. And I do plan on capturing more edited, more sophisticated video, for lack of better terms. I'm actually going to be filming on more high quality camera gear. There'll be drone footage and things like that. And so for those who are interested in more cinematic type of videos, that will be a great place for that as well. But I figured I'd start off small with the channel membership, and just kind of see what the crowd reaction is, and just see what the fan base is like for that type of content. So I'm really excited about that. And hopefully, those of you who are interested in that type of content will join me over there in the channel membership, and see what we've got going on over there. So that's the big announcement. We've also talked about the trade box. And so without any further ado, let's talk about some of my favorite pickups so far for 2025, or the items that I was the most excited about. So we're gonna move this box aside. And as we move this box aside, we're gonna just go ahead and pan to one of my favorite items that I was able to pick up. And that was this Sony PlayStation 3. This is the backwards compatible PlayStation 3. It does play PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games on it. I picked this up at a thrift store. I think I was lucky enough to get it because on the day that I picked it up, there were about 3 other PlayStation 3s next to it, and I don't think anyone really took a hard look to notice that this one was actually backwards compatible. The beautiful part about it is that the flap is still intact. There's no like issues with the flap per se. So usually there's like hinge damage with this, but the hinges are fully intact. There were no systematic issues with it. No, I didn't get like a yellow light of death or anything like that. So it was in perfect working condition. It booted up perfectly, no delays, no system issues. And it came with the controller, it came with all the hookups, and I was really excited to find this because now I don't have to have my PlayStation 1 or 2 hooked up. I can actually just use this for all of my PlayStation games from 1 through 3. So this is definitely a space saver, a time saver, and I was just stoked to have this. So this was definitely one of my favorite pickups so far for 2025. I was really excited to find that, was glad that I got that this year. All right, now looking back over to some of the other pickups, since we're talking about consoles, I'll showcase another console that I was really excited to get in 2025. And that would be this handheld Game Boy Pocket. So this is like the Glacier colorway or the Ice Blue colorway for this Game Boy Pocket. And I've been eyeing this for years actually, but I wanted to get one that wasn't completely ravaged. It's tough to find these used and in good condition. It's usually like an extreme. Either they're like brand new and people want like $500 for them, or people want like $60 and they're completely thrashed, like major discoloration all over the console. But with this one, it was in pretty fair shape. I mean, I would say fair. I would give this one like a 7 out of 10 condition. It does have the original cover, which is good. This sticker was still intact, and this sticker was still intact. It's to be expected that usually the barcode has this type of wear and tear. I'm kind of used to that. In most cases, this isn't even there anymore. And if you do find one that has this like completely white, untouched, usually the seller is going to want to charge you above $100 for it. So this one I think I got for a grand total of like $35 or $39 or something like that. And so this was a steal of a deal for me based on the condition. And this was a Game Boy Pocket that I've wanted for a long time. So I was glad to be able to add this one into the collection for sure. So definitely a pickup I was excited about. I'll show these two together. So Mega Man Extreme and Mega Man Extreme 2, these were two Game Boy Color games that I had on my wish list for quite some time. I hadn't been able to, I didn't want to eBay these games. I kind of really just either wanted to find them in the wild or, you know, on a trade. And luckily, I was able to find one in the wild, and I made a trade for it, and that was Mega Man Extreme 2. So made a trade for this at my local mom and pop shop. The label was in pretty good condition, so this was what I did here. And then oddly enough, I was able to find Mega Man Extreme on GameStop's website. They did during the months, between the months of May and June, GameStop unleashed a number of really like uncommon retro games on their website, for all platforms, from the Sega Saturn to the Dreamcast, PS1, PS2. Just a very uncommon just listing of games, not like their common stuff. And so I was able to snag this off their website. Both came at a great deal, and was glad to add these two. And they basically follow like the Mega Man. They play like the Mega Man X games you would play on the Super Nintendo, but they follow a little bit of a different storyline. So these were two that I was really excited to add to the collection as well. Then we have a Switch pickup. This is a game that I once had, sold it, and I got it back, and that is Steel Assault. So this is an extremely fun game on the Nintendo Switch. This is like a modern retro style game. It's a 2D sprite-based side-scrolling game, where the mechanics of this game work, where you have like this whip. You know, the main character, he uses a whip, like this green laser whip, for his attacks. But for you to navigate the levels, you have to use this grappling mechanic where you can kind of grapple between levels and platforms, and that's how you kind of like, you have to use it to move through certain aspects of the game. You actually have to use it to fight some of the bosses, and it can become very challenging trying to attack and navigate the grappling system at the same time. So this is a difficult game. This is not an easy game at all. This is a very difficult game, which is part of the reason why I like it. It takes me back to that era of gaming where just games did not hold your hand. Like, they didn't make it easy for you. It was actually pretty difficult. And as you can see here, the art style of this game, it has like these artificial scan lines that are supposed to mimic like 90s arcade scan lines, and it just uses these bright and vibrant neon colors, the oranges, the pinks, the greens, the blues, and it's just very, very cool. Of course, it follows the very common post-apocalyptic dystopian narrative where, you know, a city's been, you know, blown to pieces, and you've got this dynamic hero that's supposed to go and save the day. The story is nothing, you know, original. You know, it's nothing original about the story, but it's a very fun, nostalgic type of game. Everything from the music to the art style to the gameplay just reminds me of everything that I would have played as a kid back in the day. So I was definitely stoked to add this one back into the collection this year. You probably caught a sneak peek of this game on the side, so I might as well show it. Popful Mail. Popful Mail has been on my wish list for years. I mean, going back to like 2021, when probably before then, I've always wanted this game on the Sega CD, and thankfully a local reseller near me had it, and they were willing to make some trades for it. So I traded away a bunch of just kind of like common Wii and GameCube and Game Boy and DS games that you could just kind of easily replace. Just waiting for a GameStop buy two get one sale, I was really able to replace almost all of the games that I traded away for this game because I knew I'd find those back. You don't find copies of Popful Mail every day, especially not in good condition. The jewel case was in pretty good shape. There's not a crack anywhere on it, so that was great. This is a working designs title, so you know, you have that kind of like embossed type of lettering here. And it's just a classic Sega CD game, man. I mean, the manual was in great shape. The disc was in pretty good shape. And I was not mad at all when this trade fell into my hands. Popful Mail is also a really expensive game, so it's not one that I would have wanted to pay out of pocket cash for. It's about a $500 game or so. So this one was really fun. I started playing it immediately. Went through like the first few stages. I got to pick it back up. But it's basically an action platforming RPG. It just combines a lot of different elements into a very fun and cutesy package. The cutscenes of this game are very cool, and it has just a lot of that nostalgic 90s music to it. So this was one that I was really glad to be able to add to the collection for sure, at the beginning of the year, or in the first half of the year. So we've got that. And then the one GameCube game that I'm going to show here, and I got a lot of GameCube games the first half of the year, but the one I'm going to show here is Phantasy Star Online. And along with showing Phantasy Star Online, I'm also going to show this device here, because Phantasy Star Online was one of the few games on the GameCube that you could actually play online using this broadband adapter that came with the GameCube, which is another little device that I was able to add this year. And I can't remember, I know Spawnwave did a video on this maybe a year or so ago, pretty much, you know, kind of investigating whether or not people were still playing Phantasy Star Online. I can't remember what his findings were, but I thought it was really interesting just to see this game. I found this in the wild at a GameStop, was able to pick this up on a pretty decent deal. I think this game wound up being like 25 bucks or something like that. And honestly, I was excited to play this one as well. Just these kind of like open world adventure games, you know, kind of grabbed me, especially on the GameCube, because I didn't feel like we had a ton of these types of games on the GameCube. You know, you have Star Fox Adventure, you have like a couple other like open worldish type of adventure games, but the Fantasy Star, you know, online game just felt so open, so extremely open and vast, which I think was the main draw for me. And it was a game that I didn't have back in the day when I actually had a GameCube as a kid. So being able to find this in store in good condition with everything as well, all the inserts, the original codes that come with it, all that jazz, this was exciting to see in the store. And so I went ahead and snagged this one. This is a great combo piece here for my GameCube collection, and I was really stoked to add this. And again, I've added a bunch of GameCube games. I've added GameCube games that are way more valuable than this, way more rare than this, but this was the one that kind of stood out to me, and I was glad to be able to add it to the collection for sure. All right, we're gonna end this off with some really retro games, being some Super Nintendo games. So first off, we've got G.I. Joe, the Atlantis Factor. I do have G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. Both of these games are really cool run and gun shooter games on the NES. Which, you know, you have a good amount of those on the NES. So getting into the last of the pickups for the first half of the year that were some of my favorites, we have the Nintendo games, the first of which is the G.I. Joe, the Atlantis Factor. This is a run and gun shooter. You also have G.I. Joe, Real American Hero on the NES. I have that one as well. Both are really good run and gun shooters on the NES. A little bit ahead of their time, in my opinion. I feel like just with some slightly improved graphics, this is a game that you could easily see on the Super Nintendo. And I'm not sure if there was a G.I. Joe run and gun shooter on the Super Nintendo. If not, I'm kind of shocked that this didn't translate to the next generation, because this is a solid game. Really, really cool. One that I played quite a bit of when I first got it. So this one was definitely a cool add. And then we have a really rare one. So this is one that I had been eyeing for a while. So Felix the Cat. Didn't think that I would spot this. I saw this game once out in the wild at a mom and pop shop, but oddly enough, in the beginning of the year, this actually popped up on GameStop's website. And I was skeptical. I was like, there's no way they have this on the website. It's probably fake. But sure enough, they sent me a legit copy of Felix the Cat. The label was immaculate. Like, I was blown away at how clean the label was. Very good condition, real. And this is a fun NES game, man. Just all the things you can do, the different vehicles you can drive, the you know, how dynamic the levels are. Played a good amount of this when this first came in. I was excited to get this one, just because, you know, I don't have a huge NES collection, but I collect certain NES games. I try to get the more advanced NES games, like games that probably came out towards the end of the Nintendo life cycle. Some of the earlier stuff is just a little bit hard to digest graphically. But games like this, like Felix the Cat, is definitely a pleasant surprise, and was glad to add this one. And at the same time that I got Felix the Cat, on that same exact order, I was able to get a copy of Metaltorm on the NES as well. Just a super classic looking game. Everything about this game just reeks late 80s, early 90s, just classic, you know, mech shooter style game. Really like Metalstorm. This is basically a run and gun mech shooter where you kind of have this gravity manipulation dynamic where you can either, you know, run on the ceiling or run on the floor. And this game reminds me a lot of Panzer Paladin, which was released on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, this is the originator. And it's an IREM game. IREM has been known for some really good shooters. You have the IREM Classics collection, I think, that came out through limited run with a bunch of those classic IREM shoot 'em ups on it. So definitely a classic developer, classic game on the NES, and was one that I was really glad to find. So these are my favorite pickups for 2025 so far. We'll see what the second half of the year brings. It's, you know, every time I say that it's dry or it's slowing up, I run into like this crazy haul or something like that. So I'm almost nervous to say that, because I'm really not looking to spend a ton on retro games during the second half of the year, and my taste, like what I'm looking for, is starting to narrow. I'm finding myself passing on a lot of stuff because a lot of the stuff that I would buy, I already have. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in the second half of the year. But I think pretty much from July forward, it's really going to be more about like experiences and getting out, especially for the summer, a lot of adventure stuff. So you'll be able to see more in-depth looks of that on my membership. Again, you know, if it's something that you're interested in, be on the lookout because I will be launching the membership today. That's where you'll find more of my long form content and just some more of my edited stuff and just videos that kind of go a little bit deeper than just what you would get from like the daily vlogs that I put out like this one. So let me know what you think about these pickups. Let me know some of your favorite pickups for the first half of 2025, and I will catch you in the next one. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.